Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you some news regarding Jadon Sancho. So Borussia Dortmund lower their asking price for Manchester United to sign Sancho. Borussia Dortmund will accept around £78 million for Sancho. Now, Borussia Dortmund recently confirmed that they have a gentleman's agreement with Sancho, so that would allow him to depart Dortmund in the summer. We are actually confident that we can get Jadon Sancho on the cheap. We've spoke with his representatives over a potential move. Borussia Dortmund admitted earlier on this season that they'll sell Jadon Sancho for the right price this summer. And Borussia Dortmund's CEO did reveal that the club will discuss exceptional offers for the winger. Earlier on this season, it said that Dortmund had given us a new Jadon Sancho transfer price, and it said it was £88 million. Earlier on this season, it said that we was preparing to put a £50 million bid in for Sancho. And before that, it said we actually paused our transfer pursuit of Sancho due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. Last summer, he was our number one priority target. Sancho to Man United last summer was extremely close. It said like the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and a contract had been agreed. But we couldn't come to an agreement on an actual fee, so that's what the stumbling block was. Last summer, Dortmund were demanding £108 million. We was reluctant to meet their £108 million valuation. We was only willing to pay so much up front. Dortmund made it clear to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. Fabrizio Romano, who is a very reliable Italian journalist and close to Man United, he's spoken a lot about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga, and so too has Christian Falk from Bild. This has been Jadon Sancho's fourth season at Borussia Dortmund. Analysing the vast majority of his career at Dortmund, he has been very, very consistent. He's had some bad periods here and there. He's made 133 appearances for Dortmund and he's scored 46 goals. Dortmund got him for next to nothing. They paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. The main explanation he left Manchester City is because he didn't get assured any first team opportunities. Before he was at City, he was at Watford. He was with them a long time. Sancho is under contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2023. It's recently said that we've been looking at Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich as an alternative to Sancho. But yeah, £78 million is good for Sancho, but certainly wasn't worth the £108 million that they were demanding before. If Sancho comes to Manchester United, I think he'll fit in perfectly and he'll replicate, what he's done at Borussia Dortmund. Now, the Glazers are here to stay. They have no intentions of selling the club. Now, yesterday, our fans broke into Old Trafford and invaded the pitch to protest against the Glazers. Obviously, our fans were throwing flares, they were climbing on the goals, they were smashing equipment up and all that. But reflecting on that anyway, the Man United and Liverpool game got postponed. It will be rearranged, I presume, but no date has yet been confirmed. A lot of our fans were outside protesting against the Glazers, and not so long ago they burnt the American flag. The other week, our fans protested against the Glazers at Carrington, and some of our fans blocked entrances into the Carrington training ground to protest against the Glazers. Solskjaer actually said not so long ago that the Glazer family will not sell Manchester United, and before that he told protesters that Joe Glazer loves the club. The Glazers apologised the other week over the European Super League plans. The Red Knights have told the Glazers to sell Manchester United. Now, the other week, it says that the Glazers want £4 billion to sell the club. The Glazers bought the club back in 2005 for £500 million. The Glazers have been at Manchester United for 16 years now. I hope we get the Glazers out, because it would be the right decision by Man United, because I hate the way the football club has been run for a long time. We need to recommend new owners in. Obviously, you know the news regarding Ed Woodward. It got announced the other week that Ed Woodward resigned as Manchester United vice chairman, and he will stand down at the end of the year. Ed Woodward has had a 16-year association with Man United. I presume all United fans were delighted with the news regarding Ed Woodward, because we've been very critical of Ed Woodward for a long time. The other week, Ed Woodward's house got attacked by masked protesters. I think it said Woodward will get to choose Manchester United's next chief executive. It says there could be 5 candidates that Manchester United could look at. It actually said the other week that Edwin van der Sar is the favourite to replace Ed Woodward. So there you go. And there is a lot of players that Manchester United are looking at. Obviously, you know the news regarding Pau Torres from Villarreal. Man United are very, very interested in signing Pau Torres. It recently said that we are in advanced talks to sign Pau Torres, and we're aiming to complete the signing of Pau Torres before the European Championship begins. Pau Torres has a £43.4 million release clause, and Villarreal want us to meet his release clause, but his release clause rises up to just over £56 million in the final 15 days of the summer transfer window. Earlier on this season, it said that Pau Torres was interested in making a move to Man United. And Real Madrid's president, Florentino Perez, was infuriated with Man United for entering the race, because at one point Real Madrid were emerged as the favourites to get him. Pau Torres has been at Villarreal for a long time now, came up there, youth set up and that, been in their senior squad for quite a long time now. He's got a contract with Villarreal until 2024. Still young, got a lot of development in him. Do you think if he comes to the Premier League he can exceed expectations? Don't forget he did have a loan spell with Malaga. So do you think he'd go well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line? We've looked at quite a lot of centre halves. It said a few weeks ago that Solskjaer had drawn up a 6-man centre back shortlist. Jules Koundé from Sevilla, I'll recently give you the news on him. According to reports, Sevilla are willing to accept around 52 million for Jules Koundé this summer. His release clause is around £78 million. Now, apparently, Real Madrid have entered the race for Jules Koundé, and Man United and Chelsea are also interested in him. Now, earlier on this season, it said that Sevilla were demanding £68 million for Jules Koundé. It says we was reluctant to meet that. But it said earlier on this season that we was prepared to pay around £61 million for him. And it said we were emerged as the favourites to get him. I'd take Jules Koundé at Man United, because I think his performances for Sevilla have been very, very good. He's been at Sevilla now almost 2 years. He's got a contract with them until 2024. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. We may not get a centre-half now anyway, because not so long ago, Eric Bailly signed a new contract with Man United until 2024. There's also an option of a further year. Now, obviously, you know the news regarding Declan Rice from West Ham. Darren Fletcher said not so long ago that Declan Rice asked about Manchester United whilst he was on international duty with England. Now, Rice has already asked Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw about life at Old Trafford. There was narratives coming out last month saying that Declan Rice was interested in joining Man United. It says West Ham were demanding £100 million. He's not worth £100 million. I reckon he's worth from between £50 to £60 million. Maybe £70 million at a push. But earlier on this season, it said that Solskjaer agreed with our recruitment team that Declan Rice would be the perfect signing for the club. The main explanations I take Rice at Manchester United is because he dramatically improves us. He's predominantly a holding midfielder, and Man United need a holding midfielder, and he can be deployed as a centre-half as well. He's Premier League proven, and he's still young, and he's got a lot of development in him. He's been at West Ham now for like 7 years. He's got a contract with them until 2024. I'm expecting Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window. We might even make 5 signings. And I've already identified the areas in the squad where we need to strengthen up. The summer transfer window is going to be huge for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think he's aware of that. And it's going to be huge for Manchester United in general. I can assure Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window, and he'll be Man United manager next season, because it's already been made clear that Solskjaer will not be sacked as Man United manager even if we fail to win the Europa League. Solskjaer wants good backing in the summer transfer window, and you know what? I'm expecting him to get the backing he deserves, because we've got John Murtough, he's our director of football. We've got Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director, and we've got Matt Judge. And, Matt Judge has been part of the club for a long time. Solskjaer's not been backed enough so far as Man United manager, and in that aspect, the blame stems from the board. Obviously, we know Woodward's announced his resignment, but don't forget he did say earlier on this season that he believes Solskjaer's the right man to lead the club forward, and he released a statement saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. And even when he was enjoying them really, really bad periods, Woodward come out several times to show his support for Ole. Our board have a soft stance on Ole, with him being a legend of the club. And I think that's what's basically saved Solskjaer's job, being a legend of the club. Disregarding him being a club legend, I can almost assure that he wouldn't have been Manchester United manager now. But the summer transfer window will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. I might expect us to spend big, but Solskjaer did mention that he wants to keep transfer dealings quiet. Obviously, we're going to offload players in the summer transfer window. Like I said, we could sell David De Gea. I'm expecting us to offload Sergio Romero. I want us to offload Phil Jones. I want us to offload Delors permanently. He's out on loan with AC Milan at the moment. Axel Tuanzebe, I think we should offload him because he doesn't get in our 11. Or if we don't offload him permanently, at least loan him out. Alex Telles, I think there's a good chance he'll leave because he doesn't get given enough opportunities, does he? Brandon Williams, do you think we should loan him out because he's like our 3rd choice left back and doesn't get in our team now, does he? Played a lot of games last season. The only reason he did is because Luke Shaw had a couple of periods out with injury. Williams is still young now, isn't he? We just need to loan him out, don't get rid of him permanently. Matic, I think there's a good chance we'll offload him in the summer transfer window. The being rumours about Donny van der Beek leaving Man United in the summer transfer window, but like I updated you yesterday, it said that we will refuse any offers for Donny van der Beek this summer, so we are reluctant to let him go. Van der Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. Juan Mata, I think there's a good chance that we'll offload him, and a lot of United fans are saying that we need to offload Anthony Martial. But you know what? There's a lot of players that will stay at Man United in the summer transfer window, and I reckon there's quite a few players that have got long-term futures at the club. Dean Henderson, I can assure he'll stay with us. He's a long term for Manchester United, is Dean Henderson. In a lot of his games this season, he's done really, really well. Henderson's made good saves, he's kept a lot of clean sheets, his distribution's been good, and he's also made good aerial claims. I reckon now he's our number one. If we put him as our number one, it's the right decision by the club because I said he's reliable enough to be our number one. Dean Henderson has got that experience behind him because he did endure 2 successful loans with Sheffield United, and he's also had other loan spells before. Don't forget, before the start of this season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United worth 120 grand a week. So reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. I can assure Luke Shaw will stay with us as well. Luke Shaw's been our best player this season. He's shown good attacking intent, he's provided width, got into good positions, his crossing's been good, and defensively he's been superb, and he's created chances for his teammates. Luke Shaw still remains our 1st choice left back despite the arrival of Telles last summer. Shaw's had a good career at Man United despite his injuries. He's been at the club over 6 years now. Said not so long ago that Man United is set to offer Luke Shaw a new 5-year contract worth around 180 grand a week. So it said we're going to be giving him like a £30,000 pay rise. Shaw has just over 2 years left on his current contract. Obviously, we know Eric Bailly is staying at the club because not so long ago he signed a new contract with Man United. I'm glad he's staying, to be honest with you, because he is a very, very good centre-half. My only element of concern about Bailly is too injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. Bailly doesn't hardly get in our team now, does he? But I think he's signed a new contract because he's got a very, very good feeling that he's going to get his way back into the team, because he said earlier on this season that he wants assurances over his playing time before he decides whether he's going to sign a new contract or not. We paid £30 million for Eric Bailly from Villarreal back in 2016, so he's been at the club now quite a few years. Harry Maguire, I think he'll also stay at Man United. I don't know about long term though. He's had some good games at Man United, but he's also had some poor games as well. But he certainly wasn't worth the £80 million we got him for from Leicester. He's the second most expensive sign at the club at the moment, just behind Paul Pogba, and he's the most expensive centre-half in the world. Victor Lindelof, he'll stay. I'm very, very sceptical though he'll be with us long term. He's done well, Lindelof, recently, to his credit, but I do have my strong reservations about him. There's been a lot of games where it hasn't looked good alongside Maguire in our back line. I certainly prefer Bailly ahead of Lindelof. But Lindelof's been at the club a few years now. We got him in a deal worth £31 million from Benfica back in 2017. And Wan-Bissaka, he'll also stay at Man United. I think he's going to be with us long term, and Wan-Bissaka. Bissaka's had some good games, and he's also had some poor games. You know, when Bissaka's good, you know, he shows good attacking intent. He gets in good positions. His crossing can be good. He tracks back well. Defensively, he's always been superb, hasn't he, more or less. But in the games he's been poor in, he lacks the attacking intent. He gets caught out far too many times as well, and his crossing can be poor. He's got to show attacking intent persistently, Bissaka. That's what he needs to work on. This has been his second full season at Man United. We got him in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. Fred, I think he'll stay with us. Probably not long term though. Can't see him leaving in the summer transfer window. Fred's already said anyway he wants to stay at Man United. We overpaid for Fred. We got him in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. He's had his good games at Man United where he's read his game well. His passing's been good. He's looked very mobile. He's got forward in that well. He's created some good chances. But he's also enjoyed poor games as well where his reading of the game's been abysmal. His passing's been abysmal. Hasn't got forward that well. Gets caught out far too many times in the midfield when he's playing poorly. So yeah. Scott McTominay, he'll stay with us as well. You know, McTominay's still young and he's got a lot of development in him. He's a decent player, but McTominay's not at that level yet, is he? Question is, can he emulate to that level? McTominay's been part of the club for a long time now. Just after the first lockdown last year, he signed a 5-year contract with Man United, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. Bruno Fernandes, I'm kind of sure he'll be staying with us. It said not so long ago that Bruno Fernandes will sign a new contract at Man United and stay at the club, but only if Paul Pogba does. So Paul Pogba's key to Bruno Fernandes signing this new contract, because earlier on this season said Bruno Fernandes was refusing to sign a new contract until he had assurances of the club's transfer plans. Fernandes' current contract expires in 2025. There's an option to extend for the further 12 months. We initially paid 47 million for Fernandes, but the overall cost with add-ons is just over 67 million pounds. He has been at the club now over a year. You know, he's our best player, and he's one of the best signings we've made since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Don't forget, Fernandes said on his 12-month anniversary back in January that he's planning on spending many years at the club. And he's won Player of the Month quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. At some point, we need to give Bruno Fernandes a rest because we have overplayed him now. In a lot of his games at Man United, he has been very consistent, but there's also been quite a few games where he has looked off the pace, and that's due to us overplaying him. He predominantly plays as a number 10. Mason Greenwood, I can assure he'll be staying with us. He's the long term for Manchester United. Greenwood's been very consistent in a lot of his games since he broke into our first team squad. You know, Greenwood made his senior debut in 2019 and he's been a United player since the age of 7. Earlier on this season, he signed a new 4-year contract with the club. He deserved a new contract, reflecting on his good performances. This has been his second full season in our senior squad, by the way. At the start of this season, we give Mason Greenwood that number 11 shirt. Sometimes we play him on the right, sometimes we play him up top, but either way, we get the best out of him. Solskjaer's been defending Mason Greenwood a lot this season. At the early part of this season, Greenwood was in and out of the team, wasn't he? Don't forget. Marcus Rashford, he'll also stay as well. Rashford has become injury prone at Man United because he has sustained quite a few injuries now. And Edinson Cavani looks like he's going to be staying for next season. Roy Keane, though, doesn't want him to. He's obviously explained why. He recently said that Cavani is close to agreeing a 1-year contract extension with Man United, and he's decided that he wants to stay at Man United in the summer. And it said it's expected to be official this week. Solskjaer did say not so long ago he's doing all he can to convince Edinson Cavani to stay at the club. Before that, though, he said his future was not 100% decided. At one point, it looked like Cavani was going to be leaving because it was saying like he was willing to take a pay cut to go to Boca Juniors, and he had a verbal agreement with Boca Juniors, and Boca Juniors willing to offer him a 3-year contract. James, I think he'll stay as well. Been getting a lot of game time in the last month or so. At one point, he did lose his place in the team. But like I've said, in regards to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he needs more time. He does deserve at least another season because he has made progress in quite a lot of aspects. A lot of United fans are Ollie in. Obviously, a lot of United fans have been demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. Obviously, they've got the reasons behind why they've been demanding him out. But he's our best manager since Ferguson. This has been Solskjaer's second full season at Man United, and he's been Manchester United manager now over 2 years. So reflecting how long he's been at the club, he has gained some managerial experience and he's learned quite a bit on the job and tried quite a few different elements. What I mean by that is he's, tried different formations, he's rotated the squad a lot, which is good. Solskjaer hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, but that doesn't mean he can't succeed as Man United manager. And his decision making also concerns me. I think Solskjaer's going to win his first trophy this season, the Europa League, because technically we are into the Europa League final now because we beat Roma 6-2 not so long ago. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. We'll probably finish second in the league this season. So obviously we're going to be in the Champions League for next season, which I said was very, very essential. So there you go. And we appointed Solskjaer in December 2018 to replace Mourinho, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. Given the job permanently a couple of years ago, reflecting how well he did as the interim manager. So anyway guys, that's everything to update with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.